Hey guys, welcome back to the Drift Chat. Well, yeah, technically speaking, not really the shed, because as you can see, I'm driving my car, and the reason for it is quite simple. In my previous video, I promised you more car stuff and a new exciting upcoming summer project. And look, this is what's happening. I don't know if you can see it behind me, but I'm towing this cute little red car on my trailer. So, to get you up to speed about what is really happening, the other day I received a phone call from my mom telling me that her car broke down and that she had it towed to the garage. Now, my mom was already thinking for quite some time about changing her old car for a newer one, because with the age of the car and the more frequent breakdowns, she just lost confidence in the reliability of the car. And with this final breakdown, this was the final drop to take the decision to let go of the car. Now, when I found out the ridiculously low price the garage was offering her to take the car off her hands, I could not do other than try to convince her to sell the car to me. And that is what actually happened. So I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer, and I'm going to pull over to the next petrol station to show you the first glimpse of my new car. This is it. This little red car that I'm bringing home with me is a 2001 Mazda MX5 NB. Under the hood, it has the more powerful 1800cc engine and not the smaller 1600cc that is more common in these cars. And the 140 horsepower combined with the lightweight of this car makes it really fun to drive. It only has 130,000 kilometers and a full service history, and I know my mom drove it like an old lady, so this car definitely still has some life in it. The hardtop on top is a great bonus, and I know that the softtop underneath is in a good condition. The twin exhaust system is an original Mazda option that you could have back in those days, and it gives the car a little bit more sportive look. Let's quickly go home so I can show you more of the car and tell you about the problems. So guys, I'm very lucky because I was unloading the car and I just had my friend Ellie who dropped by to work on her car, so she will be of a big help to get me unloading this car. So if you haven't checked out her channel, what is your channel?
She's at a drift show.
You guys cannot imagine how happy I am that we got the car off the trailer, inside the shed, parked on the bridge, and that it all went so smooth. And that is because, as you can see, the shed is located a little bit uphill, and then I also have this ramp right here in front of the shed. Would have made it impossible to me to get the Miata inside of the shed all by myself. So luckily I was able to maneuver the trailer right in front of the shed, and we just had to push the Miata inside. Now this brings us to the less positive news of the day, because you might have guessed it, the Miata is not running at all, and I have no clue why. To find out what is wrong with the car, I'm only left with a couple of vague clues. So according to my mom, in the last week while she was driving the car, she had a terrible burning smell inside of the car, and the final time when she tried to start the car, the engine made a lot of noise. So she called the AAA guy, who also tried to start the car, and when he did, a lot of white smoke was coming from under the dashboard. So he quickly jumped out of the car, disconnected the battery, and got the car towed to the garage. Now when I picked up the car at the garage, the mechanic there told me that even when he would just try to put in the key in the lock, the car would already try to start itself. All these clues made me come up with the following plan. So what I'm going to try to do is get the starter motor out, because most likely this is the one that is faulty and I will have to order a new one. I'm going to get the dashboard out and check all the wiring. If some of the wires burnt, I should be able to see it. And according to what the mechanic in the garage told me, I will have to take out the key lock and check if this one is also not faulty. Okay, enough with the talking, let's get our hands dirty. I'm going to get the car up and we'll try to get out the start motor. I've been checking out everything a little bit, and I located the start motor. It's right in there, you can see it next to the oil filter on the left. So what I'm going to do first is get this bottom protections in the rear and in the front off, and also the front tire, to have a little bit more access to everything. So I got all the covers off. Gives me a better overview about what is going on underneath the car. I only snapped one bolt, so that could have been much worse, but I was lucky. And what I'm not so happy about is this massive oil leak I discovered. It seems to run all the way down the gearbox. Now when you look at it, it seems to start from the drain plug. So maybe just tightening the drain plug and cleaning this up might solve the problem. I can also show you what I think I need to do to get the starter motor out. I've never done this before on an MX5, but looking from it, you just need to pull off this signal cable that gives the relay the signal to start. You need to bolt off the power cable. And then it seems that I have a bolt here and a bolt here that I need to undo, because these are the ones that are holding the starter motor against the gearbox. while I was taking off the starter motor, I found out that it's held in place by 3 bolts and not 2 like I said before. The last bolt is all the way on the top and it was hidden behind the starter motor. This is why I did not see it at first. So you can also see the flywheel inside of the gearbox. And what I already did is I've put on a 12mm wrench. And when you turn this wrench, you turn the crankshaft, you can see the flywheel spinning. So I already did a couple of rotations to check if all the teeth of the flywheel are still okay and no damage there. So that's already a good point. This is what it looks like from the gearbox side. So on the right we have the 2 bolts that I had to undo to get the starter motor off. And then on the top left you had the 3rd bolt that I did not see at first. To have access to this one, I undid this little bolt here in the middle that was holding the cable loom to push it aside and to have an easier access to it. I also found out that my regular 12mm sockets were too big to get in there. Luckily, I also have this set of smaller 12mm sockets. And with this one, in combination with some extension bars, it made the job very easy. One final thing I would love to try for today is bench test this starter motor. So to do so, I hooked it up permanently to a 12-volt battery like it is supposed to sit inside your car. And what happens is when you turn your key, you will get 12 volt onto this brown wire, which was actually the one with the slip-on connector that we took off when we unmounted this unit from the car. And when the brown wire receives 12 volts, it's going to activate the solenoid, which will push this little sprocket here forward. The little sprocket is going to catch your flywheel, and then the bigger motor here is going to start turning. So your flywheel starts turning, which will eventually crank your engine. I've been trying this starter motor out for the last 15 minutes, and the only thing I can say about it is that its behavior is completely unpredictable. When I first started it up, the little sprocket came out, but it did not turn. So I thought it was just blocked, and I disconnected the battery, made it turn around with my finger a couple of times, and when I connected everything again, well, the sprocket was turning, but it was not coming out. So after a few times trying to start it, then suddenly everything was working normally, and without changing anything, when I try it now, as you can see, nothing is happening. The thing is, I really have sparks here at the battery, so the start motor is really draining some power from the battery, but it refuses to turn. Oh look, now suddenly it wants to turn again. So yeah, I think this unit is completely faulty and it's not a bad idea to have it replaced. It might sound weird, but I'm actually happy that I found out that the start motor had a problem. At least that's one thing off the list. If you have any advice or you think about things that I should check, please leave it in the comments. I'm gonna wrap it up here for today. Tomorrow I'll be checking the electricity of the car, but that is for another Drift Chat video.